see your screen and your being. So fun.
Oh, yay. I've never used one of these before. I'm a, I am a headphone gal.
You know,
With the cord.
I got earbuds for Mother's Day, and like they're life changing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're life changing.
Okay, look, so we have 3. We actually have 3 on right now.
Hi, welcome. I'm good. How are you? Welcome. We're meeting. Yay. Hi. Hi, Julie. I would give you a
Hi, Tara. Alicia, nice to meet you. Hello. Yes, you can. Yes. So welcome. We also have people joining us on Zoom from across the country and Canada.
Oh, wow.
So, but we thought if we could do it, we'd meet in person because we're. I know. Can you see me? Those on the. Welcome. Oh, I'm muted.
But they
Oh,
can
okay.
unmute. I think you can unmute yourself. Melanie, since I know you, can you check?
Hello. Hi, Julie.
What? Hi. How are you?
You're muted.
Okay, you're muted. Okay,
Melanie,
we're going to
can
get
you unmute
started.
yourself, just so I know.
Hi. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
So there's 6.
okay. Welcome. Welcome. This is so, okay, I've never done something like this. I've either done something on Zoom or I've done something live. So here you are. We're making history. Woo! I think we'll do the connecting after. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so welcome. I'm Julie. Am I talking too loud because I'm Aaron's engineer? I'm Julie. I live in Utah, like these people here. We're actually in a park for those who are watching on Zoom. We're in a park and it's beautiful. It is glorious to be together, to be outside. It's beautiful weather. And we are all here as part of the Tribe of Queens. And we'll share with you what that is. But really, it's just an excuse to get together. And it's just an excuse to connect. So our intention tonight is to share with you some tips and things that we have in our repertoire to help you navigate the new now, and then also to be reminders for us, or just reminders for all of us, because all of us, we have not been through this ever before. So how do we navigate it? Well, we navigate it together, and we're going to give you some tips that maybe together will help with that. So that's our intention. I know, right? So I'll just share just a little bit about what brings us here, and I'll share with you more at the end. So we have formed a community of women, group of women, to help empower each other so that we can move forward together. So if you have a message, those who are listening on Zoom and those who are right here, if you have a message to share, then this is the space to share that message, because we all learn from each other and we can all learn and grow together. And especially as I get older, probably older than all of you, that is one thing that I know and love about working with other people, is connecting, and what happens when we connect with each other and have new ideas, new synergy, and we can create something completely new with all of our expertise and our experience. But you're about ready to hear from these amazing women. I'm going to introduce to you, first Terry will be speaking to us. So she will share her wealth of knowledge with you and some things that she that she does every single day. So I'm going to turn the time over to Terry.
Thank you. I think I'm hooked in. Hi, everybody. I'm Terry Benson. I am going to actually talk to you guys today about just making each day extraordinary, and I'm going to share with you how I did that. One of my favorite quotes is, "The day before your life changes forever will probably just be an ordinary day." And for me, that day was 7.5 years ago. 2 years before that, I had gotten divorced. I'd been married for 27 years, went through a terrible divorce, and we ended up losing everything. So I lost my house, and I kind of started over at the age of 48 with absolutely nothing. And just as I was kind of feeling like I was approaching 50 years old, and I was just feeling like, I think I'm figuring out my new normal. Like, what does my new normal look like? And I was also kind of in a midlife, like, I'm gonna be 50 and I'm single. Like, those are two things I never saw myself doing, turning 50 or being single at that age. Anyway, so I kind of had a breakdown, and I just started running like miles and miles every day, and biking hundreds of miles on my bike each week. And I think I was running just from reality. It just kept my mind off what was really happening in my life. And so anyway, I'd gotten in just amazing shape, and I turned 50. And about 7 weeks after that, just after a regular, ordinary day, nothing exciting happened that day. I was getting ready for bed and had a small stinging pain just erupt in my chest. Like, I thought it might be heartburn or a pulled muscle. And it wasn't that painful. And I had no idea that within a few hours I'd be fighting for my life. I am grateful for an ER doctor who listened to his intuition that night and ordered a CT scan, because that's the only way you can diagnose an aortic dissection. And I don't know if you know what an aortic dissection is, but your aorta is your main valve that comes out of your heart that pumps to every organ in your body. Every vessel comes off of your aorta, and it was tearing. And it tore down into my aortic valve, so it was pumping out blood into my body. And so I was near death, didn't have any idea. And I woke up in the morning hours of October 24th, 2012. And I was unaware that I had been there for 5 days. And I had had 18 hours of open heart surgery. I awoke in critical care to a very fractured and fragile body, just completely different than what had been 5 days before that. I had survived 18 hours of open heart surgery, liver failure, kidney failure, and colon failure. And during that time, my heart stopped beating for 26 minutes. My greatest gift at that time was spending a time in a beautiful place that I called heaven. I wanted to stay there, but I didn't. I came back to pain and a very extremely long recovery. How does it take that long to recover from anything? My recovery was 2.5 years, and I didn't want to do it. I was told by my cardiothoracic surgeon that I would never work again. I would never bike again. I would never ski again. I would never do all those things that I love doing. And I just couldn't wrap my whole head around it. So during one of my doctor's appointments with him, I just started crying, and I just said, how can I ever be happy again? If I can't do anything that I love to do, my life completely ended that day. No working, no nothing. And I thought, how am I ever supposed to be happy again? And he looked at me and he took my hands and he said, you will find things that bring you happiness that you've never known without this happening. You will find other things that bring you happiness. And I didn't understand him, and I certainly didn't believe him, because I was like, that's not possible. But fast forward a long journey, and well, first of all, I want to tell you, statistically, I should have died that day. the survival rate of the type of dissection I had is 2%. But I didn't die, and it just wasn't my time. And what I did, through my struggles, I realized that God has a plan for us, and we're not in charge. But what we are in charge of is our happiness, and our choice to be happy. So for many years before I had my dissection, I had just a miserable life. I was so unhappy, and I was just going through the motions, just living every day, just like a robot, just hanging on for dear life. And I was experiencing very little joy. And now I had been given a second chance, and I decided to live each day like it might be my last, because you never know. I mean, you hear that all the time. Each day is a gift, blah, blah, blah. That's never going to happen to me, you know. And one day it could happen. And I thought, you know, I want to leave more for my children. I want them to see me happy. I want them to see me thriving. So I choose to have happiness in my life every day. And I make every day extraordinary. And I did write a book, and I was going to bring some copies, but I'm rewriting it right now. So it's going to even be better. But I wanted to just read you a little thing from my book. I'm not even sure who wrote this, but it says, every life has its ups and downs. Regardless of your circumstances, learn to be present in each season of your life. Life is meant to be lived, not to just exist. If you are ill, remember that you are more than just a physical body. What can't be physically cured can often be emotionally healed. If you are sad, take charge of your mind and focus on things that make you smile and laugh again. Find something worth living for and cling to it with all your might. Life is short. Don't allow anything to steal your joy. Celebrate the small victories, no matter how insignificant. Then look forward to the next victory and step out to achieve it. There will be times when you have more questions than answers. Even in the darkest of those times, know that you are not alone. Be still. Listen to your heart. Allow yourself to hear your own still small voice. Believe in your truth. You have the power to create a valued, cherished, and celebrated life. You are something special, and you have greatness within you. Never take anything for granted, especially the magic of an ordinary day. Anyway, thank you for letting me share today. I know, it's like, big, thank you. Anyway, hope that gives you a little insight on being happy. Okay,
Can you hear? Is it going well? Okay, good. Hi. Terry, yay! Wow, what a great thing to share, especially at this time. Like, we need to be present, even though we might think, oh, I want this to be over with. I'm done with this. But looking at it for what it can create, what we can create with this awareness of everything being shut down, everything just being creative with what we have. So I'm excited to hear Tara is our next speaker. And so you will be able to hear what she has to say and how she runs courses and helps people every single day through her business. So I'm going to turn it over to Tara.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, my name is Tara, and my passion is to talk about emotional literacy, and I'll tell you why. When I was a little girl, I had an experience, and I always preface this by saying, parents don't wake up in the morning and say, how can I wreck my kids today? And I have a really good relationship with my parents. I love them dearly, but I said something and my mom got really mad, and she scolded me. And that day, I was 3 years old, I learned that I wasn't allowed to have those big emotions and to share them. And so it became my job as the oldest child to help manage everyone's emotions in the house. And if anyone got big or loud or dramatic, then it was my job as the oldest. This was a job I took on myself, but it was my job to help squelch that so that mom didn't get upset, because that was dangerous. And as I had my day when I was 35 of my whole life changed, and my husband disclosed some things that were really hard to hear. My life changed in that day because I had no emotions, none. And he was telling me these really hard things that he'd been holding back for 15 years. And I didn't know how to react because I wasn't in touch with my emotions at all. And so I didn't even know what they were or what they felt like or what they meant. And on that day, I started my recovery process, and it's been the biggest life changer for me and for my family, honestly. So the thing that I know now is that emotions are indicators and they're not dictators. That they just tell us that there's something to look at, and that they don't tell us what we have to do about that in the meantime. And so I've created a bunch of platforms, like Julie said, but one of them is really, I call it PEMS. So PEMS healing: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And I believe that if we can build a solid foundation with those four levels of healing, that we can heal fully and that we will feel more balanced. So I like to explain it like this. Most of us, when something big happens or something that we want to change, we go after one of those areas. Okay, I want to change my health, and so I'm going to go after one, like, my physical health, and I'm going to just drill down really hard on, what I'm eating and how I'm sleeping and on how much water I drink every day. And we really focus on one thing. And when we do that, we build a really strong physical leg on our stool. But we sort of sometimes leave the other three out. And so we end up on a unicycle, really, because it's like we have one strong leg of our stool that is built with a fence post, and the other three are like dry spaghetti noodles because we kind of forgot about them. And we do that a lot of times. A lot of times we go straight to prayer, which is great. And that's what I say, like, all of these areas are great, but we need to learn how to do a balance. And so I have a wellness challenge that I do every year that is learning how to just do one small thing each day in each area so that you can feel more balanced. Because even when you have a trauma or something hard, if you can go through each of those areas and figure out, how does this affect me physically and emotionally and mentally and spiritually, and heal all of those, then you feel more balanced and more whole. And so that's really, like I said, that's my passion. That's my mission in life, is to help teach women what these emotions are saying to us and what they're trying to tell us, so that we can address those things, so that we don't have to live numb or emotionally avoiding. A lot of us have emotionally avoiding behaviors because when something comes up, all of a sudden we're like, oh, that's scary, or I don't want to talk about that, or I don't want to look at it, I don't want to face it. And so I'm just gonna clean the kitchen instead, or go shopping, or read a book. And like I say, all of those things are great, but if we do them at the expense of everything else, then we suffer, and our families suffer too. And so that's just a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm passionate about it. I have 4 kids that are awesome, that are on different levels because of where I was when I was a mom, when I was a young mom. My kids are all in different emotional, healthy levels. And so I tell my oldest all the time, I've never been the mom to a 22-year-old. So we're figuring this out together. And I say to him often, I know that you can see the difference in how I treat the 14-year-old and how I treated you when you were 14, because I'm in a different place now. And so I give myself that grace and that self-compassion, and that models it for him to do the same for himself. And so in the last 4 or 5 years, I've seen him grow a ton, and he has a lot more emotionally avoiding behaviors than the youngest, because that's what was modeled to him when he was young, and that's how he grew up. He's the oldest, and it was his job to make sure that no one got upset, because then mom would be upset. And it's this thing that we perpetuate in our families. And so that's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I love to talk about it, because we, if we can learn how to figure out what it's saying to us, then we don't have to avoid it anymore. So that is my message for today. PEMS healing. I actually have a free ebook that I'll send out to everybody who registered, that talks about and has some different ways to release emotions in each of those areas, and also ways to strengthen it. So thank you.
We're gonna have all of you share at the end. Okay, hold on.
Is that right? Am I good? Okay. Can you hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Good. 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 All right. We had one other speaker, but she will bring her in at another time. There's been a lot that she has been going through, and I just wanted to kind of share a little bit about that after Tara. I'm so grateful for what you shared, because I grew up in the same kind of home where emotions or things you just didn't talk about it. Whenever I was upset, I just became quiet. And my husband has really helped me like tell what's happening. And so that's why I feel like this gathering, this connecting is so important, that we can have this time to talk about it. We are experiencing something that no one has ever been through before. How are we dealing with that? And actually, I'm going to ask all of you to share, or those who want to, just to share ways, how are you navigating it and how's it working for you? So we're sharing a few tips and things, but what are you doing, and how's that helping your life? If you have kids, how's that helping everyone around you? So thank you for sharing that. And Jody, I would share just a little bit about her. She is the daughter to my neighbor. And my neighbors, that Jackie and John, are just incredible people. And my neighbor, John, was actually 3 years ago, was hit by someone, and he suffered a brain injury. And so that, what they went through to help him to actually walk, to live, to eat, everything that they were going through, she just shares some incredible things of how she navigated through that. So we realize we've all been through hard things. I mean, this is not new for us to be going through hard things. It is new to be going through the same thing all together. So I just like to share a little bit. I'm going to share a little bit of my story and share with you some tips of how to be healthy, because that's my passion. And that is that one part of the stool, like Tara talked about, but it's such an important part. And it was never, growing up when I was little, I of course didn't really think about it. Actually, what I used to do is I would go, I had, my sister would be cleaning our little play kitchen, and she had some cleaner that she squirted into these glasses, and she was cleaning them, but it was cleaner. It wasn't dish soap, it was cleaner. And so I went right behind her and I drank the water with the cleaner in it. And so I had to go and have my stomach pumped. and then another time I was at our church, and I was outside where there were pyracantha berries. I don't know if you know those. And my mom came out and she realized that I had been eating those berries. I just wanted to see what they tasted like. Well, luckily the hospital was right across the street, and I went again and had my stomach pumped again. And there were actually several other times that I had my stomach pumped. But from a little age, I knew that what I put into my body actually had an effect. And sometimes they didn't want it in there. So of course you had to do that. I had to do something to bring it back out. And what I've realized over the years, because when I was in the 5th grade, I started dieting, because I thought that's what you did to be healthy, and I wanted to be healthy. So I started dieting. Not a good idea. Not a good idea in the 5th grade. So I would eat well for a time, and then I would just binge on sweets and treats and just make myself sick. And I hated how I felt. I hated my body, and I just wanted things to change. And so luckily, about 18 years ago, when I was pregnant with my son, I started flooding my body with whole food nutrition. And that changed so many things for me. So now, healthy to me is just eating lots of fruits and vegetables, not just fruits and vegetables. I love tortilla chips. They're my nemesis. But because I've done that now, I don't crave the sweets and treats. But here's what's happened though during this time, is that I've realized that I am actually going to the fridge more, going to the pantry more. Has anyone else noticed that? anyone else noticed you're like, I think I'm going over to the, I'm done with work. I'm going to go over to the pantry. I'm going to open up that fridge. Have you seen that meme that says, you're not hungry? Close the fridge. Like the fridge door is open and you can see a picture of what's inside the fridge and it says, you're not hungry, close the fridge. So what I've realized is that when going through all of this together, like there are some things that we're not getting. Of course, we're not getting connecting. We're not getting connection. How many of you like to connect with other people? Look at that. Everyone here says they like to connect with other people. How many of you have felt something missing? Okay, so what I do is, it's my business is called At the Core, and I do work with people to go deep and to find out what's missing, what's happening in your life. Not what's missing, but let's uncover some things. And so they shared that, yes, they were going for the ice cream, the cookies, those things. And here's what we came up with, is because they're not getting fulfilled someplace else. They're not filling their connecting bucket, if you will. But so they're trying to make a pseudo fix of filling themselves, FILLING, filling themselves with just something that will fill them up. So now here's my question for you, is what makes you happy? What fills you up? What feeds your soul? That's the true question. And I'm going to just be quiet for a moment. I'm going to ask it one more time. What feeds your soul? And in the chat box, you can write that down. And for me, an introvert turned extrovert, I do like connecting with people. And I have felt a difference. Zoom is okay. Zoom is good, but it's not the best thing. It's not fulfilling what I like to do. There are other things that I like to do, like learning. And this beautiful woman gave me a book. She gave me a book and I started reading it. Oh, I love it. Anyway, I started reading this book and it reminded me, oh, like learning is also so that feeds my soul. That feeds my soul to like learn things, and my brain is just coming up with ideas and I think, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. So instead of going for something that is not a true fix of filling yourself, think of what really feeds your soul. And that can change things as you navigate this new now. Also, one more thing, because I was going to share tips to support a healthy immune system. And it's just eating fruits and vegetables, but not just fruits and vegetables, but whole food, having that, but then also realizing that what is it that you need. And so one of the other tips that I have is just processing those emotions, like Tara talked about, or Terry, making the day extraordinary. And those two things are so important, and taking the time to write things down, processing what's happening, processing, okay, I'm feeling this way. Yesterday, or maybe it was Sunday, nope, last night, this huge thing hit me, like just this emotional block that I had. So I had to take time to write it out. Okay, what's happening? What's going on? Why am I feeling this way? Instead of saying, oh, let me go sit on the couch and let me just fill my brain with something that won't help it, or go grab an ice cream and something that will not be lasting in terms of helping. So processing those emotions and then being grateful. So every night, just writing down everything. I write down things that happened that I'm truly grateful for. And even the littlest thing, like Sunday night, watching my daughter, she walked our dog, who is still a puppy and is so hard to walk. And the dog doesn't like it if you get ahead. So I had to walk behind her and watch her as she was training this dog to heel and to go forward. But it was that little tiny simple thing that made the day extra special, that I could see, here's this 15-year-old girl. She's responsible. She's getting calluses on her hands because she's like trying to yank this dog. But as I walked behind her, it was a beautiful moment. And it's those simple things. So if we go back to what's simple, go back to being grateful, processing our emotions, and realizing that what is feeding our soul, what feeds our soul, and are we doing that? Are we feeding our soul every single day? Because we need it now more than ever. We need our soul to be fed. So those are a few things I'd actually like to, maybe we can even turn it if you don't mind, if you want to share some things that ways, or you can unmute yourself if you would like to share ways that you are navigating this new now. And then I'll just end with a few other thoughts. So is there anyone who wants to share? What's that?
Julie, I can.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Lucy.
Okay. Yes, it's Lucy. That's right.
Something that came up, I think it was at the end of last week, or maybe the beginning of this week, when we were talking about ups and downs. And this is definitely a time of ups and downs. I started out as an educator in K-12 system. Then after I got my master's, moved into the higher education world. And I'm the kind of person who's always chasing after that next degree. And I don't know if
the next degree. I'm telling them because you're here in my ear. Keep going.
Oh, okay. So the biggest thing is I'm going to show you something. I don't know if they can all see this, but this is one of my crowns.
Hold on.
This is the other.
Ah! Okay, you have to look at this. Can you see this? So she's
this
showing.
Is one of my crowns. This is the other.
So do you see it? That's her one crown and that's her other crown. We love it. We love it.
So my brother got me into, when I was struggling with some things, navigating through some rough times, he got me into some distance cycling, and I'll say distance.
Yeah, she does distance cycling.
But I've done several century rides, which are 100-mile rides.
She does century rides.
Yeah, it's 100 miles. And I still do that, but I never realized what it was like. I've heard people talk about that point where you hit the wall, where you just can't go any further.
As she rides, she's talking about the point that she hits the wall. She can't go any further. Yes.
And it's just crazy because I've never experienced, I mean, I thought I did. I've always said, oh yeah, I hit the wall. No, I didn't. I had gotten in one of my rides, probably my second 100-mile ride that I ever did, I hit the wall at 90 miles.
She hit the wall at 90 miles at one of her rides.
So when I got to the 90-mile mark, I literally,
100.
I got off of my bike and I stopped to stretch.
She stopped to stretch.
And eat a little something, because that's what you have to do, is eat constantly while you're riding that long. So I get to this point and I'm at the top of a hill and I'm stopped. Cars are passing me and asking if I'm all right. And I finally, I literally probably stood there for 10 minutes arguing with myself.
10 minutes arguing with herself.
Going, just get on the bike. You only have 10 more miles. And then
get on the bike, you only have 10 more miles.
And then I would say, no, just stop. You know, somebody will pick you up.
Someone will pick me up.
I did that for 10 minutes. Literally 10 minutes.
Did that for 10 minutes.
And I did get on the bike.
She did.
I had to back all of my gears down to the lowest gear.
She put all of her gears down to the lowest gear when she got back home.
And I crawled my way on my bike into the 100-mile mark.
Woo! But
yes,
you did it.
And I was like, I had never faced that. It's when you literally you're arguing with yourself. Can I do this? No, I can't. Yes, you can. No,
arguing. You're so cute.
And it's
This
just
is
so
Lucy in
crazy because
Wisconsin.
we're in this time right now where that's what we're doing. I'm also navigating something at work where I might lose my job now. And
She might lose her job at work.
I'm going, you know what? This is the 90-mile mark. I'll get back on my bike and I'll finish it. And I think that's what we need to realize is that this may be a struggling time for all of us. We may all be in this struggle, but and we may feel like we've hit the wall, but you can talk yourself through that wall so that you can eventually get past the wall and finish that race and finish that ride.
Woo! I'm going to just finish. I'm going to paraphrase what you just said so they
Sure.
can't hear you because I've got the earpiece in. But that was beautiful. So she said it's like life is like that century ride at 90 miles. We're done. I'm done with this. I'm not going on. So you can just argue with yourself like, okay, I'm not going on. Yes, you are. I'm not going on. Yes, you are. And no, we just get on. We keep going. We keep going. No matter if we put those gears at the very lowest setting and we crawl our way to the finish line. We're going to make it. We're going to do it. So yes, Lucy, thank you for sharing. That was great. I forgot about that. I forgot about that piece. I'm so used to just people sharing on Zoom. So I'll actually, would anyone like to share here? Okay. Can we do this? Okay. Okay. We're going to have Anne. Do you want to come up here?
That's your piece. So I'm Anne.
And I just met Julie, like, when was it? Last week. Julie, so one of the things that I do that helps me is I have a cheerleader in my life named Lana, who is like positivity. Like anytime I get down, I call Lana, and now Julie's going to be one of my favorite cheerleaders too, because I talked to her last week and I was kind of feeling a little bit low and like, okay, I have my own business. I'm like, I don't know, this isn't going well. And she totally like pulled me up and was like, you are going to do this. You can do this. So you got to find those people in your life that can be your cheerleader.
I just wanted to close with tell you just a little bit about the Tribe of Queens, like why we're even here all together. And it's a good excuse. It's a really, really good excuse because we have the chance to connect with each other and learn about each other's strengths and to really help each other, to uplift each other. That's my mission, is to uplift. And so if that means going to the core and bringing somebody up, that's what I love to do. But also uplifting is just connecting, and seeing how we can help each other. And they're bringing what happened just together, and it's not it's like we are helping ourselves, and it's not that we are our own best selves, but sometimes we kind of have to peel away. Sometimes we have to kind of dig deep at the mile we're going there. And the Tribe of Queens also offers coaching, and we can share those friends with you as well. Calls, empowerment coaching call, a business. So if you have something that to be your best, business calls are incredible. Also, if you're writing a book, there's a new, or if you get a book again, cover. I decided to write a book. I already have the cover, the ideas, but with it. But there's a who want to do that. Jenna Woods, and she is a best-selling author, and she shares her tips. And I listened to the last coaching call. It was phenomenal. I mean, just some of a few things that she shared, like, hey, I like this book, I'm going to do it. And then the other calls are people who just really getting your life in balance, going from chaos to order and forward in that. And it was started by Evans as just an incredible real when we gather and connect best versions of ourselves, help. And the membership is only, are you ready for $? For the membership? 22. Yes. And the registration. And then you are part of these coaching calls in the community. So there are people already are saying, hey, I do you, if you are also have access. It is phenomenal and experiential learning where you just go through a process of personal growth and just really discovering who you are, what your talents are, of the tribe of queen. Also, and a mission to share. So I have a message. This is so great to have a platform, and women are just drawn to this and want to know how. And that's what we're going to be doing. Events happen one every week. So we have those so that we can show you if you'd like to schedule. Yes.
Julie, I don't know if you can hear this at all, but I don't know if anyone else is experiencing the problems that I am. You are cutting in and out a lot due to low bandwidth.
I actually missed everything that she was talking about. I couldn't hear.
Cutting in.
It says there's low bandwidth.
Oh, everything's. Oh no, it's recorded.
So we didn't hear anything that Julie just said.
No.
So start over, Julie.
That's the best part. Now, can you hear me?
Still, it's cutting in and out. It says you have low bandwidth.
Let me sing down. Can you hear me now?
No. She's like a robot.
Yes, she is.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little better.
Maybe we'll just stop it. I'm not used to this.
There she is.
Wait, hold on. Somebody
Okay.
saying something. What was
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Was that a little better?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Now she froze. Now the screen froze.
Do you want to? Tara's going to tell you. Maybe it'll work for that.
Oh my gosh, this is what I do at
Okay,
work
is that a little
all
better?
day long.
I put the earpiece down. No, they're just all laughing.
Yeah.
Tribe of Queens, global movement, women empower each other. That's all. Woo! We'll get the recording to you.
Great summary.
They're like, no. We're so glad you joined us. We're so glad. Okay, we'll stop, but we'll send you the recording.
Okay, thank
She's
you.
like, yeah. Oh, that was crazy. That was